Good afternoon. I'm Mary Clark Ormond. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees of the Aurora Historical Society. So it's my privilege to welcome you here this afternoon. And I do mean a privilege. I think you'll hear from all of us what it has meant to us to be able to not only take charge of these artifacts, the crosses, the memorabilia, the supportive notes from children everywhere, not only to preserve those, but to interpret them into the future. And not just us, but the people who follow us. We think it's going to be hundreds of years of people following us. There are a few thank yous I'd like to issue. First to the charming Holy Angels students. We have 8th graders, a 3rd grader, a 4th grader. They were the ones who handed you the red carnations. And do what you would like with those. If you want to bring them home, that's perfectly fine. If you want to add them to the display here at the crosses, that's also fine. Anything goes this afternoon, I guess. There are many people who contributed to this, and John Jaros, our executive director, who is the principal contributor as well as the brains behind it, will be speaking, but we also have Scott Sherwood here. I think Scott's at the door. Bill Walsh helped us. We have Josephine and Laurel and Chrissy and a number of other people. Our treasurer, Greg Probst, is here to help us this afternoon. We want to thank everyone who agreed to speak during the program. And as you know, we're aiming for 124 when the whole city of Aurora will be holding silence at that important moment. So John Jaros, our executive director, has a word to add also.
Thank you, Mary. Well, first off, I have to say I'm sorry that we have to meet like this today. This is an exhibit that I would rather not have had to do, but it's something that happened and that has to be done. February 15th, 2019 will forever be remembered as one of the most tragic days in Aurora's history. A day when our community joined the ranks of so many others in the nation that have been affected by senseless violence. These crosses and the memorial items displayed here today stood at the Pratt site last year after the tragedy and until the end of March, at which time the Historical Society became the custodian of them. We're charged with preserving them, as Mary said, for posterity, so that long after we're all gone, this day will be able to be remembered. These crosses and the memorial items are things that not only mark a tragic day in our history, but more importantly, they represent the lives of real people who had families and loved ones, people who, like so many of us, went off to work in the morning, but who tragically never came home to their families. And some of those families have joined us here today, and I welcome them and say you have our deepest sympathy. After our ceremony, I invite you all to stay and to reflect for as long as you like. And when you leave this place and go about your lives, remember always to love your families and be kind to your fellow man. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I neglected to extend thanks to Brad Green, singer-songwriter you're going to hear from in a few minutes. We have next Deputy Mayor Chuck Nelson, who will bring greetings from the city.
Good afternoon and welcome. My thanks to the Aurora Historical Society for hosting today's event, and my thanks to all of you for being here today, especially the family and friends of the deceased. It is with mixed emotions as we gather today. A long year has come and gone since the senseless tragedy that took the lives of 5 wonderful people: Trevor Rayner, Russell Byer, Vicente Juarez, Josh Pinkard, and Clayton Parks. To the families and those who lost loved ones, I can't imagine the pain and suffering that you have endured over the past year. All we can offer is our continued support and our prayers that you will eventually find an inner peace and God's comfort. My mother and father died many years ago of natural causes, but there isn't a day that goes by that I do not miss them. To the residents of this community, we've had a year to come to terms that a tragedy of this magnitude could actually take place in our town. The true strength and character is frequently measured by how one responds in the time of crisis. I stand here 1 year later as a lifelong Auroran and can tell you that I have never been prouder to have witnessed what I call an overwhelming response to the tragic events of April 15th, 2019. From our first responders who without hesitation ran into danger, risking their lives to save lives, to the owner of Luigi's Pizza, Bill Poss, and his marvelous team who immediately stepped up into action to provide food and comfort to our police and firefighters. And 1 year later, individuals and organizations that are part of the fabric of this community continue to provide various forms of support to the families and the first responders. In closing, November 13th, 2019 is a date that will echo forever in the chambers of Aurora's history. We will always remember those who lost their lives, their families, those first responders who put the well-being of others ahead of their own personal safety, and the outpouring of love and support from this community and beyond. May God bless you.
Thank you, Chuck. Congressman Bill Foster is with us, and we'd like to hear from him now.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who might not know me, I'm Congressman Bill Foster, and I'm proud to represent Aurora as part of the 11th Congressional District of Illinois in the United States House of Representatives. I'm honored to be here with you all as we commemorate the Pratt shooting with this new exhibit. And I'd like to thank Mary Clark and John Jaros for inviting me to be here with all of you at the Aurora Historical Society. 1 year ago today, gun violence stole the lives of 5 innocent people and injured 6 police officers when a person who should not legally have had a gun opened fire in the Henry Pratt workplace. These tragedies have become too common in America as gun violence manifests itself every day, even when there isn't a mass shooting of this dimension. 100 Americans die every day from gun violence, from homicide, domestic violence, suicide, and other gun-related accidents. As these exhibits show today, the victims are our family members, our friends, and our neighbors. I'm honored to be with you today as we stand in solidarity with those who lost their lives 1 year ago today, as well as their families. This exhibit is not only a great way to honor the lives lost, but also an important reminder of the work still left to do in addressing gun violence. 12 years ago yesterday, the mass shootings of students at NIU shocked our community and our nation, and in those 12 years, we have done very little. Although we passed strong legislation in the United States House, the Senate and the President have done nothing. Every American deserves the right to live their life free from the fear of violence and the worry that their next trip to work, school, or place of worship may be their last. Thank you all.
I'm going to, thank you, Congressman Foster. I'm going to move the program around a little bit so that we're sure to find 124 at the right moment. Before I do, however, I should point out that if you haven't seen the boxes and cards behind the wall there, please have a look at that. Those are for you to use to write your thoughts, your greetings, put them in an envelope and make sure you say on the envelope who it should be sent to. And the city of Aurora, thanks to Chuck, Clayton, Mohammed who's here, will make sure that those greetings are, that they get to the right people. So be sure to utilize that opportunity which the city has provided us. One of the unique things I think about the city of Aurora is that we have a poet laureate, and actually we have 4 poet laureates. We have one, actually we have 2, but we have one sitting here to my right, and I'd like to introduce Fermina Ponce, who has, I think, probably 2 poems to present to us.
Thank you, Mary. In memoriam, truce. Only tonight, even if only for tonight, a truce with no flag, that doesn't shed blood nor bleeds dry, with your peaceful voice and my tune. A truce of words tied between moons and half-healed wounds, with an it doesn't hurt anymore kiss. Only tonight, even if only one night, a truce of you rest my love, to cease dying, to cease killing, to remain from disappearing. Silence. Who knows about the voice of silence? Who has listened to the tones of its voice? Today I had heard it singing to the grave alone, moaning and no wailing. In the depth it took courage from the core, up to the ocean's red lines. Night has fallen, and I can only hear Chopin's Nocturne Opus 9. Thus, the black silence, absent, nostalgic, visceral. We're gone, silence weeps, it goes quiet, and departs. Thank you.
The time is now 1:24. If able, please stand while we join the City of Aurora's emergency dispatch for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Started out that day to be an ordinary day to me. It seemed till I got that notification. I turned the TV on to see a scene like one from a movie. And that scene was all over the nation. Aurora, Aurora, this is your song. Aurora, carrying each other along, we carry on, and we remain. Aurora strong. I saw 100 uniforms become one in this town. Running into the storm, our old man gunned down in our building on our own avenue. I see people holding one another, tears in their eyes, white crosses and flowers for those that died, and for those struggling, Aurora's arms are wrapped around you. Aurora, Aurora, this is your song. Aurora, carrying each other along, we carry on, and we remain. Yes, we will remain, Aurora strong. Yes, we will remain, Aurora strong.
Thank you, Brad Green. We just invite you to see more of the exhibit, more of the building, write those cards, and we most sincerely thank you for joining together this afternoon. Thank you.